There are only fiat coins. There are no stable coins. So if you wanted an actual stable coin that was actually stable, it would basically be an index of the global economy. You'd have hundreds of thousands of assets in it. It would display essentially zero volatility, and it would be genuinely stable. They publish like the consumer price index. They publish the inflation numbers for America. That is a somewhat precise measurement of the degree to which a dollar stable coin is in fact not stable. So, you kind of pick your yardstick, right? Is gold money and everything else is kind of wobbling relative to gold? Is the dollar money and everything else is wobbling relative to dollars? Is Bitcoin money, everything else is wobbling relative to Bitcoin? At the heart of what things like hedge funds do is navigate a landscape of attempting to identify what value is simply by having a matrix analysis of all of the possible things and their trading prices relative to all the other things, and then attempting to pick out patterns in that mess. So, what we're at is kind of the periphery of hedge fund style finance of like, so if this goes up, does that go down? Are these things correlated? And, working through that with the big math, that's where the big bucks are in the hedge fund game. What is stable value? The answer is depends who you ask. And, like some folks will just say stable is like how much does it cost to go see a dentist? And you can kind of yardstick it against things like medical care. What's the price of an x-ray? What's the price of a McDonald's? What's the average family paying for rent? All of that stuff. Like, if you just look at what humans need, you can get yardsticks of value that are nothing to do with the payment instruments. And I'm going to come back to that later on, but just, let's bear in mind that the measuring instrument for value does not have to be the same thing as the payment token.